Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start with our fourth event of the new Find Your Future Research Destination online series. Today with a Christmas special, first time, only exclusively with Research in Germany. My name is Clarissa Rademacher. I'm representing the Research in Germany initiative executed by the German Academic Exchange Service and funded by the Federal Ministry of Research, Technology and Space, and I will be today's moderator. My colleague Ingi Laffi will be my partner through today's session. Hi Ingi, thanks for being here. She will say something later on. And our online event series offers international PhD candidates and postdoctoral researchers the opportunity to gain a comprehensive understanding of the diverse German research system. And together with universities, non-university research institutions, research-based companies, and representatives from federal and state research institutions, we provide insights into research conditions, funding opportunities, institutional support services, and life in Germany. Each session is dedicated to a specific region, network, or institution and highlights current offers for international researchers. We are very excited to have the opportunity to lay focus on our rich initiative, Research in Germany today, as this is a perfect starting point, we believe, when wanting to learn about the German research system. So what exactly can you expect from today's session? I'm going to share my screen now that you see what I'm talking about. All right, and after 3 warm-up questions to get to know you a little more, I will start with an overview of Germany's research system as in facts and funding. Ingi will then continue with a very recent and interesting research and innovation policy, followed by information on how to do a PhD in Germany with some very practical advice. And our presentation will conclude with some final information on your stay in Germany, as in living costs in Germany, etc. And after all those information, we'll open the floor for our Q&A session. I hope this is okay for everyone. Feel free to use reactions at any time. Before we dive right in and to ensure a smooth and interactive session, I would like to share with you the key features of WebEx webinars. For questions that you would like to address during the Q&A session, please use the Q&A box only, which you can see here on the left. Or next to the Q&A box, you can see polls, which we will test in just a minute. And the chat box is to be used only for technical issues, please. And you can use reactions at any time, as I just said. As mentioned and agreed upon during the registration process, we are recording the event, and the recording will be accessible on our website to all participants after the session, as well as the presentation of today's session with all its content. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now, and Ingi will share with you the polls I just mentioned so that we know who we are talking to today and who you're sharing the room with as well. So let's see. What is your current academic level? This is something we would like to know. It's interesting if you're in your bachelor's, your master's, or if you already conducted your PhD.
Genau, a couple of people already started voting already, so let's wait a minute and make sure that we have everyone who's participating, and you can click on the S and you will find, if you're joining us through the webcast, you'll find there the polls.
Very interesting. We have most people.
Masters.
Masters, yeah. You can keep answering. We will leave that question open for a few more seconds. It's always interesting to know in which career stage you're in, because then we, of course, can incorporate your feedback and design our event series accordingly. Interesting. It seems that actually master students are dominating today. Great, that's very good. I think that's actually aimed for.
Yes. Okay, I think I can move slowly to the next question. What is your discipline?
Also very interesting because we also like to sometimes highlight specific disciplines. There is still a lot of movement. Public administration, very interesting.
Mhm.
Medicine, it seems to be a diverse target group today. That's great. If you have any technical issues accessing those polls, you can let us know via the chat box, but it seems that for now everyone is able to answer. Engineering sciences seems to be the dominating discipline at the moment.
Teaching degrees, I think this is if you're studying to become a teacher.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a specialty in Germany that you can do. You can go to university in order to learn how to be a physics teacher, for instance, and get the know-how and how to deliver the knowledge and so on. So there are teaching degrees in Germany. Yeah.
Yeah, it just includes, on top of the actual discipline, it includes a pedagogical side to
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
the specialty. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, I think we can jump into the third and final question.
Yeah.
You can just name the countries you're located in. We don't need your full addresses. The country is perfectly sufficient at this point. Interesting. 2 African countries. Oh, now it's becoming more diverse. India, Thailand, Italy, Germany, Zimbabwe, India, Hungary, Mexico, Colombia. Wow, that's a very huge, huge,
Diverse list, yes.
yeah, very diverse.
Different corners of the world. Very nice.
Egypt, Turkey. Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I
I
believe
think
you.
we can leave this
Yeah,
open and people can continue
exactly.
voting, and I would stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you, Clarissa.
Exactly. Now I am going to share my screen again. And we will start with the actual content of today. Thanks for answering to our polls. It's very interesting to know where you are from, and we will incorporate that into further monitoring. All right. This presentation will give you a clear and well-structured overview of the most important facts about the German research system, and you will learn about key aspects of research in Germany, funding opportunities, and also relevant policies. We will also cover how Germany can support your next career step. Today, we will lay focus on the PhD phase and how to apply for a PhD. We will present some practical advice as well. And next year, and in general, of course, we will also inform about the postdoc stage, the senior research position aspect, or if you're interested in research stay, we also have relevant information. But today, again, we will lay focus on the PhD in Germany. So here you can see an overview, and everything in bold is what we actually will come to today. We will talk about the facts about research in Germany, the German science and research system, research funding, as funding is always one of the most interesting parts, I believe, and then also the research and innovation policy, which is quite recently something we are talking about a lot. And then we will come to the goal of aiming for a PhD in Germany. And last but not least, we will also inform you about how to finance and what to expect when it comes to a research stay in Germany, or when it comes to living costs, etc. All right. So this first chapter, we will provide a description of the German research system. You will find key aspects when it comes to research and development in Germany, and you will be introduced to the German research actors, the institutions which are responsible for research funding, and we will also talk about the main funding programs that support researchers, research institutions, higher education institutions, and research and development companies. And the final module presents the most important strategies and initiatives that provide the necessary framework for preparing Germany in scientific, technological, and economic terms for the challenges of the future. Yeah, the following slides provide an overview of key facts and figures, examples, and important aspects of research and innovation in Germany, as you can see. And now we will come to a few numbers. Let me put them all in so you can see them directly. Yeah, there's a large number of international staff with permanent positions at universities and non-university research institutions, as well as numerous funded international guest researchers. In 2023, for example, German universities employed around 65,500 academic and artistic staff of non-German citizenship, and roughly 16,600 international academics and researchers were contractually employed at the 4 largest non-university research institutions, which are the Helmholtz, Max Planck, Leibniz, and Fraunhofer Institute. We will come to those big four, the so-called big four, in just a minute. And their number has more than doubled since 2012, with the result that about 30% of all academics and researchers at these institutions come from abroad. In 2022, domestic and foreign organizations funded around 30,100 visits to Germany by international guest researchers. I find those numbers quite impressive, so we keep mentioning them at this point. All right, this section focuses on the actors that characterize the German science and research system, and it presents the higher education institutions, the non-university research institutions, and the research and development companies and startups. And important research infrastructures are also presented as examples later on. All right. This is a very nice overview of the main stakeholders in the German science and research system. On the one hand, you see the research organizations are classified according to the type of financing, specifically the extent to which they are financed out of public or private funds. You can see that on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, the institutions are arranged according to the extent to which they are involved in basic research or applied research. I'm pretty sure you are familiar with most of those already. The big four are included as well. As you can see, the Max Planck, the Fraunhofer, Helmholtz, but we'll come into more detail in a minute as well. All right, again, a few numbers. Germany is home to more than 420 universities and other higher education institutions, which offer the entire range of academic disciplines. And the German higher education system is diverse and international in orientation, and this makes Germany one of the world's most attractive research and science nations for international PhD students and academics in general. Germany is strong in research. For example, more than 123,000 of Germany's approximately 468,000 research and development researchers work at higher institutions and university hospitals. And German higher education system spends more than 22 billion euros on research and development. They offer a broad spectrum of research activities, including basic research and applied research and development. Here is a nice picture. We believe they are interesting to see. All right. So German universities play a vital role in the world of research, both locally and internationally, and they maintain a strong international orientation and are recognized as being among the top globally. For example, Times Higher Education World University Rankings 2025 stated 8 universities are among the top 100 and 42 are among the top 500 best universities in the world, just so that you know where this is coming from. And such successes are rooted not least in a long-standing tradition of values that make scientific quality possible in the first place. It is the unity of research and teaching and the constitutionally guaranteed academic freedom that characterize universities in Germany and make them so special. Enabling and accelerating cutting-edge research at German universities is the global of the excellence strategy. We will come to that in just a minute in more depth. And funding is provided for clusters of excellence and universities of excellence. And since 2019, 533 million euros per year. And second funding phase from 2026, 678 million euros per year are going to be invested. So those numbers matter so that you know what you can expect in that area. Another nice image of technical universities, which we are going to talk about now. So technical universities are another distinctive feature of Germany's higher education system, which is why we are talking about them now. Let me put in all the information for you so you can see. 20 universities of technology in German, they're abbreviated as TUs, focus on natural sciences and engineering disciplines, and the spectrum ranges from architecture to industrial engineering. And they are among the most research-intensive universities in Germany. It is therefore no surprise that 5 of these universities are among Germany's universities of excellence, and 3 are ranked among the best worldwide, actually. The approximately 40 technical universities of applied sciences offer a similar range of subjects to those found at TUs. So we have the abbreviation THs, which are the technical universities of applied sciences, and then we have the TUs, which are the technical universities. Teaching there, as at universities of applied sciences, is characterized by a high degree of practical relevance and cooperation with regional companies, which is a specialty of those. All right, next up, universities of applied sciences.
Yes, I'll take over from here to also demonstrate or show you another type of universities. As you can see, they're very diverse with different focus on different topics. And here, speaking of universities of applied sciences, they are a combination of practical sciences and application-focused teaching, which is a pretty unique and does not come in multiple spots in the world. And the German universities of applied sciences offer degree courses in subjects ranging from engineering and natural sciences to economics, law, technology, design, and healthcare. And the universities of applied sciences are higher education institutions on the par or similar to the universities, and they also offer bachelor and master degrees. Something that is new, just a couple of months ago, that has been started is that the University of Applied Sciences can also grant, some of them have the right to grant doctoral degrees for specific subjects. So this is something new, and with the focus of the practical and yes, the practical side of teaching, exactly. So they Yes, they are more research oriented and have the right to award doctorates in certain subjects. It's okay, Clarissa, we can move to the next slide. Yeah, so now we've shown you the different types of universities, and let's take a look at the non-university research institutions. And Germany has 4 large and internationally renowned non-university research institutes with research budgets in the billions, and they are funded for the most part by the federal and state government. And here on this chart, you can see that around 16,000 foreign nationals are employed there as academics and researchers. So this is the numbers. I find the numbers are very interesting for you to know that there's a chance, because we frequently get the question with, do I have a chance? Can I make it? Can I receive scholarships or be accepted at universities or non-university research institutions? And here the numbers show that it is possible. And now let's take a closer look at these big 4. Yes, Germany has 4 large internationally renowned research organizations known as the Big Four: the Helmholtz Association of German Research Centers, Helmholtz, the Fraunhofer Gesellschaft, and the Max Planck Society, as well as the Leibniz Association. And they engage in basic and applied research in all major fields of sciences and research. And the Big Four comprise dozens of research institutions with different specialist areas, frequently pursue interdisciplinary work with international teams, and operate research infrastructures and large-scale facilities, some of which are unique worldwide. And they are funded for the most part by the federal and state government. If you remember Clarissa's chart at the very beginning, the yellow one, you can see that some have focused more on basic research, some on applied research, and some are funded mainly federal and private, and the others state. And their research activities are hugely important, not only for Germany, but for the world. And here you can see the different disciplines that they work on, and you can see which one may be suitable for your area of expertise and research. Yes, and we're still looking at the area of non-university research institutes. So we just mentioned 4, but there are many others. So besides them, with their hundreds of research institutes and centers, there are dozens of other public or publicly funded organizations for research and development. And yes, and here just a couple memorized. There are federal research institutions, there are the state research institutions, and the academics. And usually part of this are the really big infrastructures, for instance, the big computers, or like bigger projects. But I think these are specific for their research infrastructures that we're going to take a look in a second. Yes. Next, please, Clarissa. Yes, Germany has many large-scale research facilities of national, transnational, or even global importance. These research infrastructures include marine and polar research vessels, globally organized climate research infrastructures, life science networks, research data infrastructures, and platforms for the social sciences, humanities, and cultural studies that are also available to researchers from all over the world. And the costs of their development and constructions are so high that they require substantial national public funding, and therefore justify an extensive national decision-making process. And a national roadmap was launched in 2015 to decide on the future of these research infrastructures. And in many cases, complex, extensive research infrastructures can only be achieved through European and international cooperation. And the federal government teams up with partners worldwide to establish, operate, and use such research infrastructures. And yes, so here, for instance, the supercomputers, the really big infrastructures that one institute cannot develop on their own, or big projects like the Polarstern, that are doing lots of research in the Antarctic. Okay, so let's jump to the next slide and taking a closer look at the research and development at companies. How does that look like? Germany is a powerhouse when it comes to research and development. And above all, this is because German companies invest a great deal, nearly 90 billion euros, in improving their products. In hardly any other country does business and spend as much on research and development. And after dripping during the coronavirus pandemic, the number of innovation or growth-oriented startups recovered and totaled about 60,000 in 2021. So here we can see a little bit of numbers. So of course, a lot of investment goes to universities, non-university research institutions, and other infrastructures, but still the number with the highest amount of budget are the companies. Yes, and who invests most when it comes to R&D? As you can see here, automotive still is number one, electronics, mechanical engineering, freelance scientific tech and tech services, and pharmaceutical. And here on the left side, you see the investments in billions and the number of personnel focusing specifically on research and development. Okay, moving to the next slide, I'll hand over back to you, Clarissa.
Exactly. So we are going to continue about the funding aspect. Let me show you already all what we are going to talk about. And the following slides will present the research funding organizations and the key research funding programs that support universities and research institutions, companies, and innovative startups. Just a little interruption because somebody asked if we are going to provide you with the recording and the slides, and yes, we will. So you do not need to take notes or pictures. We will provide you with the recording as well as the presentation, let's say in the beginning of next week latest, or towards the end of next week. I will say that again later on. Yeah, now coming to the funding organizations. All right. In addition to its research organizations, Germany also has a wide-ranging funding system with various areas of particular emphasis. For example, we have been hearing of the DFG, probably all of us, which is the largest funder of research at higher institutions and non-university research institutions in Germany, with an annual funding volume of 3.9 billion euros. This is actually from 2023, but I think this is a good number so that you know how much actually goes into that organization. Then we have the DAAD, of course. The DAAD is the world's largest funding organization for international student and academic exchange. We then have the Humboldt Foundation, which Ingi already mentioned. They are providing funding for outstanding individual academics. Then we have the non-university research institutions. They do not only conduct research, but they also provide funding and support PhD students and academics with scholarships and employment contracts. We are going to present to you the different forms like scholarships and employment contracts later on again. Then finally, we have the public and private foundations, and they award individual scholarships with different areas of focus. All right, so let me focus now for just a minute on the DFG. This is an abbreviation for Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft. This is translated as German Research Foundation. And the DFG is the central self-governing research organization in Germany, and they are promoting research of the highest quality in all its forms and disciplines at universities and non-university research institutions. And the DFG is publicly funded and for the most part by the federal and state government. Next up is the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD. And the DAAD is a registered association whose members are German institutions of higher education and student bodies. Its main funding bodies include the Federal Foreign Office, it's known as the AA. They make 26.1%, and the Federal Ministry of Research, Technology and Space, the so-called BMFTR, they make 23.8%, and then the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the so-called BMZ, they make 6.6%, and then the European Commission and other international organizations, which make up for the 40.2% lasting percent. And the DAAG has a large network of regional offices, information centers, and other forms of representation in more than 60 countries worldwide. All right, next up is the Humboldt Foundation. They are also part of the Big Four. The Humboldt Foundation funds individuals, not projects. And in 2023, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation supported 2,300 research collaborations between international and German researchers as part of its scholarship program. And in 2023, the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation supported 2,300 research collaborations between foreign and German researchers as part of its scholarship programs. The Alexander von Humboldt focuses on top-class international researchers, regardless of discipline or nationality, and they also make funding available to excellent young researchers. However, there is, for example, the Humboldt Professorship, which is, of course, then related to people from somewhat older age, right, who are in their later career stages. The Alexander von Humboldt stands out for its major worldwide Humboldt network that provides alumni and alumni with lifelong networking and renewed support opportunities. So the networking aspect is also of great importance for the Humboldt. And the Humboldt Association is financed for the most part out of public funds. All right, Angie.
Yes, I'll jump to important funding programs. So we got to know a couple of important funding organizations, and there are other funding programs that are very, very essential. And Clarissa, if you can open the the four that, or I think there are five that are going to be seen. Exactly. There are multiple, and today we're focusing on the excellence strategy as well as the European research funding. But of course, if you're interested to know more about the PACT, the Industrial Collaborative Research exists that funds mainly startups, as well as the High-Tech Gründerfonds, also focusing on startups and tech. You can take a closer look at them on our homepage. So I'd like to highlight or go through the excellence strategy. So exactly. Thank you, Clarissa. What is the excellence strategy? The excellence strategy is been decided by a commission of international experts, and they decide on the distribution of millions of euros in funding for excellence clusters and excellent universities in Germany. And the federal government and the German states set up the excellence initiative in 2005 till 2017 to provide additional support for research activities in various disciplines at German universities. The almost 5 billion euros it invests has had a tangible impact. They are focusing on graduate schools, excellence clusters, and future-oriented projects have enriched the university systems, and they have given research a real boost and created outstanding training facilities as well as research and funding opportunities for researchers. And this successful program is being continued in the form of the excellence strategy. It is again investing in top-class university research while supporting cross-disciplinary excellence clusters and excellence universities. And the Universities of Excellence funding line serves to strengthen universities as individual institutions or as university consortia in the long term and further develop their leading international role based on successful excellence clusters. And we're speaking of a total of almost 150 million euros annually that are allocated for up to 11 universities of excellence or university consortia of excellence. And these include, among others, the RTWH Aachen universities, the Technical University of Munich, as well as the Heidelberg University. And clusters of excellence serve to strengthen the research profiles of applicant universities by enhancing priority areas and providing prospects for development. The 70 clusters of excellence from 2026, so it's relatively starting, a new phase is starting in a couple of weeks. They will receive an annual funding totaling approximately 540 million euros over a period of 7 years to support cutting-edge research in specific research fields and pursuing a cross-disciplinary approach from basic research to collaborative behavior to science security. Yes, and here on this map, you can see where are the universities of excellence and excellence clusters. I think you've heard this topic a couple of times, or we've mentioned them a lot. But as you see, they're very well distributed all over Germany. And why I'd like to emphasize on this point is that, especially the new or the upcoming clusters, they are always looking for researchers, PhD, postdocs, and so on. And they do a lot of interdisciplinary research. So take a look on the newly established or the ones who have already continued their yes, they succeeded in their first term and continuing in the second, they might have very good and attractive opening positions. Yes. Moving to Horizon Europe, the European Union funds top-level research and outstanding scholars and scientists through Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is a new timeline from 2021 till 2027, and it is an ambitious research and innovation program which is worth almost 100 billion euros, and its excellent science pillar supports frontier research projects defined and driven by the researchers themselves via the European Research Council, ERC. They fund fellowships and exchanges for researchers through Marie Curie actions and invest in world-class research infrastructures. And in terms of participation in Horizon Europe and funding received, Germany ranks first among all participating countries. And also do not be shocked by Horizon Europe that it is focused only or solely on Europe. There are also cross-national services and cross-national fundings that are suitable for researchers outside of Europe. So take a closer look. Sometimes there are really attractive positions there as well. Yes, and coming to a new service or something that is now very, very important to the Ministry of Higher Education or Ministry of Research, Technology and Space is the High-Tech Agenda Germany. And this High-Tech Agenda Germany aims to signify and enhance the country's innovation and economic power by intensifying investments in future technologies. It focuses on 6 selected key technologies and 5 strategic research fields. The overarching goal is to capitulate Germany back to the frontier of international technological competition. And for each technology, flagship initiatives with concentrated timelines are being developed. As early as 2025, funding programs for next generation AI models will be launched. A research satellite for quantum communication will be put into operation. And with the federal government action plan, the next step will be taken on the path towards fusion power plants in Germany. And in the second step, individual road mapping and processes for each key technology will be established starting autumn 2025. So it's just started. So, for each key technology, flagship initiative with concentrate timelines are being developed, as I just mentioned, and the funding programs are starting. And here I would like to show you, oh, sorry, I think I need to, yeah. So the high-tech agenda drives innovation through 6 key technologies. First of all, artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, microelectronics, biotechnology, fusion and climate natural energy, and technologies for climate natural mobility. It also focuses on 5 strategic research fields that I mentioned before. First of all, aerospace research. That's why the ministry is called and space. The health research, security and defense research, and marine, climate and sustainability research, and the humanities and social sciences. Together, these areas strengthen Germany's technological leadership and its contribution to a sustainable and secure future. The agenda, you can find it online. You can also take a closer look at what is possible, and if one of your research fields are focusing on these research areas, then there will be multiple open positions and funding opportunities when it comes to that. Yes, and next, the 5 reasons. I'll hand over back to you, Clarissa.
Thank you. Thanks for the add-on as well. Very important. Yes. So what are 5 good reasons why you should do research in Germany as a somehow in-between summary for you? So first of all, I would like to mention the access to innovative research infrastructures and resources, as Germany offers excellent research infrastructures, including the accelerator systems, telescopes, research vessels, and supercomputers, data infrastructures, collections, and archives. International researchers can take advantage of these resources at universities and non-university research institutions to advance their network, or in that case, your network. A second reason could be that there are opportunities for free and creative development. Germany is known for its freedom and diversity, which provides researchers with opportunities for free and creative development, and freedom of research is protected by the Constitution in Article 5 of the Basic Law, and international researchers are free to travel and live wherever they like in Europe, which gives them a high degree of mobility. The third reason is the generous funding opportunities and a stable research and development policy framework, which is especially to be mentioned nowadays when looking at the politics. And Germany invests more in the research and development of new technologies and innovations than any other country in Europe, providing a variety of public and long-term funding programs that ensure secure financial planning over a period of several years. And this is thanks to its already mentioned stable research and development policy framework. The fourth reason is that there is a scope for international interdisciplinary networking. Germany's research is international and open-minded, with well over 50% of all science and engineering publications by German researchers being written jointly with international co-authors. And international researchers can participate in highly innovative regional networks and clusters, and they encourage networking beyond the boundaries of academic disciplines, nationalities, and sectors. And Germany emphasizes collaboration between academia, business, and government to drive innovation. The last and final reason is the focus on social and ecological responsibility. So Germany's research innovations prioritize social and ecological responsibility, which helps to improve societal performance across the globe, and international researchers can thereby contribute to this by collaborating on projects that address ecological, economic, and social targets. So now we would like to provide you with an overview and a summary of what are those specific funding types. So first of all, I would like to start with the scholarship. I'm sure you all know roughly what it is, but I would like to summarize it. So the scholarship provides financial support for students, and scholarships are offered by institutions such as the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Service, foundations, and also non-profit organizations. Scholarships have a typical duration of 1 to 3 years for a PhD with possible extensions. And scholarships are often merit-based with focus areas. So you always have to see if this matches your discipline and your goals. Next up, we have the research grants. And research grants enable scientists and scholars to undertake a research project on a defined subject within a limited period of time. And research grants support specific research projects, either initiated by the researcher or funded within established projects. And research grants are provided by funding institutions, non-profit organizations, or European Union programs. And then we have the research fellowships. They are individual fellowships, and they fund an academic research position at a university or similar research institution. Research fellowships are offered by institutions such as the aforementioned Alexander von Humboldt Foundation, the EU, for example, and the Marie Curie Actions, or the DFG, for example, the well-known Noether program. And research fellowships, they provide funding for independent research, often with international mobility options as well. And then we have a very interesting funding type, the employment. Employment involves a contract as a research assistant or a research associate at a university or non-university research institution. And there are also often opportunities for paid doctoral positions in research training groups or other structured programs. We will define the structured programs or the not structured PhD programs in just a minute and how they differ. Employment is intended for PhD candidates, postdocs, researchers, and research assistants. They can be part-time or full-time. And employment is moreover intended for postdocs with further qualifications. There is the option of a junior professor, a professor, or a research group leader. And employment can also happen at a public university or a publicly funded research institute. And then this includes salary and benefits based mostly on the German public sector scales. And then professors, they are remunerated in accordance with what is known as the WW-Besoldung. This is a salary scale for scholars, and this W stands for Wissenschaft, which means science. And the employment may provide health insurance, retirement benefits, and other social security benefits. So this is something which is very special and unique in Germany. And an employment can also happen at a company. This means that you're usually having a part-time temporary contract that allows doctoral research to be pursued under the supervision of a university professor. All right, I would like to show you some helpful link here. The DAAD Scholarship Database is one of the most important tools for international students and researchers who are interested in studying, teaching, or conducting research in Germany. And it provides a comprehensive overview of funding opportunities offered by the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD, as well as by other organizations as well. So if you're using that website, you can search according to your academic level, your field of study, country of origin, and the type of program, whether it's full degree scholarships, short-term research grants, or specialized fellowships. And for universities and partner organizations, the database is also a valuable reference tool since it centralizes the wide variety of funding opportunities available in Germany's academic system. You can see here that you can have all those filters as I just mentioned, and then you would find here examples for your discipline, your origin, and what you're aiming for, what kind of funding you're looking for. So when you see that PDF of our PowerPoint of today's session, you can even click on those and you'll find all the necessary links. All right, handing over to you, Indy.
Yes, thank you, Clarissa. I think I'm just writing in the chat the link to the database because I think a couple have asked the question, where can I find grants, scholarships, and so on? There's so many, and it would have been lovely for us to know all. So we would definitely advise you to take a look at the database, search according to your area of expertise, and see what are the open positions that fit to your criteria. Okay, so yeah, moving, and maybe if we have a little bit of time, I can show you how to share. No, Clarissa, you were still right. Please continue sharing your screen because we are going to talk about the PhD first and how it works. Or yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yes, so one moment, I have to bring you here. Exactly. So we will take a look here on the different facts and figures when it comes to doing your PhD and the different paths that Clarissa just mentioned, and about possibilities to finance your PhD and how you can find a little bit of information. Yes, so a couple of facts and figures. There are good reasons to do PhD in Germany. Clarissa mentioned the ones in general for Germany, and now I'm going to tell you why PhD. Because more than 26,000 graduate students completed a doctorate in Germany in 2023, far more than in any other member state of the European Union. And of this total, almost 6,000 came from abroad. So this is also a very nice number. And the major non-university research organizations also support international doctorate candidates. Around 10% of doctoral projects in 2023 were supervised by staff at one of Germany's big four scientific organizations. And the doctoral thesis can normally be written in English, because this is a usually asked question. Many structured programs, doctoral programs, are offered in English as well. International PhD candidates are welcomed and well funded, like the DAD alone awards around 3,500 scholarships to international doctorate candidates each year. And again, with the database, you can see if the things you're researching in are also among those. Yes, there are different paths on doing your PhD in Germany, which is also a little bit unique and not very similar and a little bit different than the ones in the UK or in the US. The doctorate is the highest academic degree at a university. A university kind of award. In Germany, studying for a doctorate means working intensively on a specific subject or research project. It typically takes 5 to 6 years to obtain a doctorate through the duration, and the duration can vary. If you decide to do a doctorate in Germany, you can choose between different forms of study, depending on your discipline, area of research, professional circumstances, or personal circumstances, and qualifications. And there are two different paths. There is the individual doctorate, and the individual doctorate is based on independent research and carried out alone under supervision of one professor. And this is the traditional path chosen by over 3/4 of all doctorate candidates in Germany. And PhD candidates in Germany typically work, usually part-time, as a research assistant or associate at their universities or at the non-university research institution. So they can work on their project alone and at the same time work at an institution to fund their stay and their research. The other most common part are the structured PhD programs, and these programs follow a study format similar to those offered in English-speaking countries. You will be supervised by a team and will attend courses, lectures, and seminars together with other doctoral candidates. And the programs are often integrated into research projects pursued, for example, by research training groups or at non-university research institutions. And normally such programs are publicly advertised and often feature grants or paid doctoral positions. And research in Germany has integrated a tool on the website that you can use and can show you the different options and which path is suitable for you. And later I will show you this very nice tool and help you decide what is the right way or right path for you. Yes. Financing your PhD. There are many good reasons to pursue a PhD in Germany, and one important factor is funding. Germany aims to attract international students not as a source of income, but to enhance the international profile and diversity of the higher education system. For this reason, public universities in Germany do not charge tuition fees for doctoral studies for at least the first 6 semesters. And living in Germany is relatively affordable if you compare it to any other European country. And through Germany, like Germany is a highly developed industrial country, meaning the cost of living may be higher than in some other countries, but the everyday expenses and rents remain relatively low by comparison with many other nations. However, it's worth mentioning that rents have increased significantly in the recent years, and I'm going to show you at the end of the slide the approximate living costs and how they look like. And it is estimated that students will need on average 1,200 euro per month to cover the costs of rent, food, clothing, etc., and the semester contribution and health insurance. And another thing that is also very important is the proof of funding. And to obtain a visa and a residence permit, international students must provide that they have funding equivalent to the current BAföG. This is here an institution in Germany that says what is the minimum requirement or the minimum currency, and currently it is 992 euros per month, and which is approximately 11,000 per year. But again, we will take a closer look at the cost of living in Germany and how it is put together. Okay, so we mentioned that there are different types of funding, and there are individual funding for the individual doing the individual doctorate, yeah, and the structured. And Clarissa will show you a little bit, a couple of examples on how these funding can look like.
All right, so I have here brought you a DAAD scholarship program, which offers you the opportunity to complete your doctoral degree in Germany. And the program provides funding for a doctoral project at a state or a state-recognized institution of higher education or a non-university research institute in Germany. And this can be either an individual project supervised by a university teacher, your doctoral supervisor, or it can be a participation in a structured doctoral study program, which Inge just presented a minute ago. And the funding is provided for a maximum of 4 years when it comes to this research grant. The value is a monthly payment of 1,300 euros. So we just heard that 1,300 euros for life in Germany is enough when we look at those 1,100 euros Inge just mentioned. And the payment, there are also payments towards health, accident and personal liability insurance, they're also covered. And then there is a travel allowance and additionally an annual research allowance of 460 euros on top of that. And under certain circumstances, you can even apply for additional benefits such as a monthly rent subsidy or monthly allowances for accompanying family members, for example. So this is a very great example for funding. Moving to another funding opportunity for a PhD candidate, There are currently 68 international Max Planck research schools, and they're abbreviated as IMPRS. And those research schools are established by one or several Max Planck institutes. And however, these IMPRSs, I'm just going to use that word now, they work in close cooperation with universities and other, sometimes foreign research institutions. And this provides an extraordinary framework for the graduate students to work in, and it is a great advantage in interdisciplinary research projects or projects that require special equipment. And currently, approximately 80 Max Planck institutes are associated with an international Max Planck research school. And talented German and international junior scientists are offered the opportunity to earn a doctorate under excellent research conditions here. And then, while completing their research project, doctoral candidates furnished with this Fraunhofer employment contract are assigned to a scientific department of a Fraunhofer Institute. Fraunhofer is also part of those big four we just introduced to you. And the activities undertaken by doctoral candidates consist mainly of scientific project work. And the topic of the doctoral project should complement as closely as possible the work conducted for research project at the institute itself. And as a rule, doctoral candidates are appointed as Fraunhofer Research Fellows on a fixed term employment contract. Yeah. And if you are interested in pursuing a PhD in Germany, there are two excellent resources to help you to get started. There is the PhD Germany platform, which is a comprehensive search database. And here you can find current doctoral positions, research openings, and information on funding as well. And it's updated regularly and can help you directly connect with universities and research institutions. And I think now Indy is going to present you another very valuable, helpful advice. So over to you, Indy.
Yes, exactly. So I think we teasered that a little bit, that there is another tool that we've developed here in Research in Germany, which is called the Pathfinder. And it is an interactive tool that helps you figure out which type of PhD is the right for you, whether it's a structured program, individual, or a research in an industrial setting. It is a great place to explore your options and understand how doctoral studies work in Germany. And this tool is for free, it's easy to use, and I will show it to you right away. So Clarissa, if you may stop sharing your screen, thank you. And then I will steal the screen here. Just make sure I'm opening the correct one. Yes. Perfect. So let me show you how you can find our Pathfinder. So the easiest way would be just to go to researchingermany.org. This is our website. And if you click on your goal, and here you can find the different career paths that might or should be one of yours. And if you go to PhD, here you'll find also a short video about how PhD in Germany looks like. And here on the right side, you can find the steps. Here are also a lot of useful information, different databases and how to apply. Lots of information that you can read maybe in your Christmas vacations or in the holidays. But here, let's take a look at the Pathfinder. So when you click and start Pathfinder, it will lead you to this page where you have multiple ways how to start. Either you can start the Pathfinder from the very beginning. I'll just click on it and show you what happens. It really starts with the basic question: what type of degree do you have or plan to obtain before your PhD? So we just want to know where you are. So most of the ones with us today are in their master's degrees. When you click on master's, then it tells you, okay, perfect, you're already in a great starting point. You can now pursue a PhD, and then it starts asking you different questions if your certification is recognized, and then you can click through. And if anything is not sure or not important, you can say, I don't know, or maybe. And here you will find further information and details about how to find if your certification or your degree is recognized. And you can read here a little bit. So a little bit of self-research, but I'm talking to researchers, so that should not be a problem. And you can, like, again, find further details and explanation on how everything works. So this is a way that you can start and going through the complete checklist. Another path or a way is to jump directly to specific topics where you are unclear about them. So we have the requirements. This is a chapter. Different PhD paths, learn how to search for a PhD position, discover how to search for a supervisor, explore funding options, and find out how to apply for a PhD position. So the most important questions. And maybe just let's take a look at the different paths, because we got to know them a couple of moments ago. And here again, we ask you, are you interested in doing individual doctorate or structured? And in case you do not remember what I just said, you can always read more. And here you can find a little bit of detailed information and a short explanation. And you can also do a test and see again what fits to your criteria. So for instance, what type of PhD do you want? I will just say, I don't know yet. I want to figure it out. And here you can do a quick test in order to see what fits more to your personality. So first of all, it is the question, which piece, what do I like? Supervision and mentoring. I want a particular professor to supervise my PhD, or I prefer to be guided by a team of supervisors. Well, me personally, I like the freedom, so I would just click on particular professor to supervise my PhD. And then it's asking me to choose the research topic. I want the freedom to choose any PhD topic, or my research topic should connect to other people research topics within a team or program, or I want a research topic that can be applied immediately. So I would just say I want to choose mine on my own. And here again, we ask you about study and work experience. Do you want to concentrate on your own research? Attending lectures or seminars should be optional, or you'd like to regularly attend classes, or you want to gain valuable work experience and improve your job prospects. So these are the three options. Maybe I will choose maybe regularly, although, yeah, I'll go for concentrate on my research. And then it asked me my time management. Can I adjust my own time, or do I like to be in a fixed schedule? And then exchanging of ideas. I like to share my ideas and opinions with other students. And am I well organized and independent, or would I want support with the bureaucratical formalities, for instance, work permit or health insurance? I'm organized. And then it is shown to me which path really fits to my character or to my needs. And in this case, an individual would be sufficient. So here it wins. And then here you can see what it means, and then you can click on the next step and go and see what are the next further steps that you need to undertake. So this is a way that you can do so. And for your information, at the end, after finishing the different questions, you can get a checklist. And this checklist, you can download it, and you have multiple links that you can use for your research and whatever you would like to do in the future. So it really helps you organize your thoughts on how to do PhD in Germany. But again, you need to start from the very beginning and click yourself through if you're not that advanced when it comes to what you want. Another thing that is also very interesting or very important, and this is one of the questions that come a lot, are the best way to find a supervisor. And we often get this question on how does it work? And here, there are again a couple of important questions that you need to ask yourself if you have already your topic. or not. And then here, this is a very important summary, tips for supervisor search. And here we gathered all the important information that you need to read, what kind of research they do. You have to know what publications they have and see if there are any kind of linkage between that and yours, and then contact them and what you should take into consideration while you're contacting them. So this is also an important tips, and you can find these similar tips throughout the whole process, from the very beginning, from the very first question till the last one. Precisely. So I think I can share right away the link on the website, of the Pathfinder link on the chat, and then you can click through on your own. Perfect. I think I should share my screen, Clarissa, if I remember correctly. 1 second.
I can also share the screen, Angie, it's fine.
Yeah, as you like. Yeah. Okay, then go ahead.
I have the slide already opened. Yeah, I think that was a great practical part of the session, so that you know where to find for really like hands-on tips, and to get some real information on where to start when looking for a supervisor, and where to start when looking for a structured PhD and a not structured PhD. So a little summary, because we have heard so much, and I would like to get everyone on board again. So Germany is attractive for international doctoral candidates, as we just heard. Candidates can do a structured or an individual PhD. Renowned universities and research institutions supervise and support international doctoral candidates, and international PhD candidates generally pay no tuition fees at public universities, and doctoral theses can normally be submitted in English. Many structured doctoral programs are even offered in English, and many funding opportunities are available to international doctoral candidates. Yes. So, as research stay or visit will not only enable you to forge your first contracts in Germany and familiarize yourself with the country's research and higher education system, it can also help you decide whether to pursue a research career in Germany. So now we are coming to those research stays. We would like to help you to plan your research stay in Germany. Let me show you all the points I'm trying to make. The following slides, which are coming up now, present the various options for working as a visiting researcher at a German university or research institution, and a variety of funding opportunities are available for research stays as well. And if you are coming to Germany with your partner, support for dual career families is available as well, which is very attractive in my opinion. Yes. In 2022, domestic and foreign organizations funded around 30,100 visits to Germany by international guest researchers from abroad, and 3 large funding organizations as the primary source of support for the vast majority of these guest researchers. The Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft, German Research Foundation, or known as the DFG, the German Academic Exchange Service, known as the DAAD, and the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And the DFG alone sponsored 49% of all guest research visits, the DAAD 36%, and the Humboldt Foundation 8%. And together they contributed to the financing of 93% of all recorded visits. And 47% of all sponsored guest researchers from abroad are academics and researchers with doctorates, including professors and experienced researchers, such as the heads of research groups. And doctoral candidates and other postgraduates accounted for a further 47% of funded visits. All right. German institutions are very interested in international cooperation. There are special research grants that are available to fund stays in Germany for international researchers, be it at non-university research facility or at a German higher education institution or at a research-oriented company. And in principle, short research visits or stays by international postdocs and experienced scientists are possible at all universities and research institutions. All that actually is required is a contact with the host institution and, of course, its willingness to accept the visiting researcher. And a research stay in Germany generally lasts from a few weeks to several months and is usually tied to a specific research project and a collaborating institute. And this can enable you then to pursue your own research project at a university or non-university research institute, or it may be organized within a framework of an international partnership. And in any event, it will, of course, broaden your experience and expand your horizon. So, German institutions are very interested in international cooperation. Special research grants are available to fund stays in Germany for international researchers, be it at non-university research facilities or at a German higher education institution. And I'm going to present to you now a DAD program. And this program supports scientists and academic exchanges. Scientist exchanges are based on cultural exchange programs between Germany and partner countries, or on bilateral agreements with foreign partner organizations. And this program is aimed at university teachers and experienced academics and scientists. And as a rule, you will have a doctorate and should be working at a university or research institute in your home country. And your research stay should last for at least 14 days or at least 7 days in the case of stays for applicants from EU countries or from Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Moldova, or the Ukraine. And it can last up to a maximum of 3 months. And in this case here, the monthly payment consists of 2,000 euros for assistant teachers, assistant professors and lecturers. And if you're a professor, it's a bit more, it's 2,000 euros and 150 euros. And last but not least, there is this DAAD program, which offers you the opportunity to pursue a research project at a state or state-recognized university or non-university research institute in Germany. And the program supports research stays during a doctorate or in the early postdoc phase, up to 4 years after completing your doctorate. And the funding is provided for a period of 2 to 12 months in the case of a doctoral candidate, and if you're a postdoc, it's 2 to 6 months. And the monthly payment consists of 1,300 euros plus allowances. All right, talking about money, Indy.
Yes. Well, how much do academics earn? This is usually a big question that it is posed. So let's just go through them and giving you an idea how it is structured in Germany. At state universities and public funded research institutions they pay according to fixed rates or on the basis of these. It's like here, as you can see in this table. So it's a fixed table and with a bigger range depending on multiple things when it comes to your experience, when it comes to how many years you've worked and so on. So this is kind of says exactly in which category you will land. So professors are normally paid in line with the salary groups W3 or W2, while junior professors are in the salary group W1. Postdoctoral researchers at state universities or publicly funded research institutions are paid in accordance with the collectively agreed salary scales, and their duties, responsibilities, and experience will determine their salary group. Various additional benefits may be paid on top of a professor's basic salary, for example, in recognition of particular accomplishment, and these are individually negotiated. Germany has a federal system. Its individual federal states are responsible for paying their university staff, which is why salaries differ from one federal state to another. But again, the easiest way would be just looking online. These structures are fixed. The cost of living differs greatly within Germany. Life in a big city is often much more expensive than in small towns, for example. And this is particularly due to rent levels and house prices. An initiative is being launched, and this is an integrated to speed up construction and it hopes that this will bring about improvement in the future because the housing situation is a little bit challenging nowadays in Germany. So, on average, housing costs can be about 1,000 euros per household, and on average, Germans spend 520 euros per month on food and clothing per household. In total, the cost of living for households therefore most amounts around the 2,800 euros per month. So again, it depends on which city you are really and what everything costs. It's a really wide range. Maybe if you're, thank you, Clarissa. Maybe if you're a guest researchers sometimes and staying for a short period of time, there are guest housings. So it would be important also to ask within the international office. Sometimes they have these kind of offerings. Yes, and again, when you're in a big city, everything is a little bit more expensive, but therefore the salaries are sometimes a little bit higher, and you have also more opportunities. And the smaller, exactly the other way around. Yes. Okay, so I think we've given you a lot of information. I'm sure I hope you're not very overwhelmed, but just allow me to summarize a little bit where you can find further detailed information that you can check out. Next slide, please. So I showed you on the Research in Germany website. First of all, you have the opportunity to find through your goal specific information to bachelor, masters, PhD, postdocs. Thank you, and for researcher, junior researchers, and established researchers. So that would be the first step. Also, a little bit below, you will find this this nice picture collage where you can find PhD positions. This is also right on our website here on the right hand side, exactly. And if you go a little bit lower, you will find the link to our Find Your Future Research Destination, Meet Your Future You, as well as the Pathfinder. It's also connected here, right to the right of where Clara. Exactly. So these are all spots where you can find information, or mainly information that we are been speaking of, and furthermore. And you can always follow us on different social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and website and newsletter. Maybe speaking of the newsletter, we have a specific column called calls where monthly we share different calls and different funding opportunities that may be interesting for you, as well as events and information about living and working in Germany, as well as different research topics are also presented there. So definitely subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on the different channels. And another source, like today, Find Your Future Research Destination, is today's series, but we also have the Meet Your Future You, where we invite researchers that have already been through doing their PhD in Germany, and they share really amazing insights. Today is our last day of the series, of both series. We're closing the year, but we can promise you next year there are far more, even more interesting and hot topics that we're going to tackle next year. So stay tuned. Another source of information about the German research system, you can find in our brochures. They're not like new or updated yet, but there are specific information that are still there. They are very helpful. For instance, doing a PhD in Germany, this PDF gives you an insight on how everything works and very nicely explained. Next slide, please. And last but not least, I think here we have a website with different focus areas where you can know a little bit more about the different research fields. for instance, the high-tech agenda and what is happening. I think we mentioned like the 7. We've already gathered 4 topics here within this website, and you can get a little bit further details on how research is happening and taking place on specific research topics. Perfect. And we would like to also to share with you multiple links, especially for the doctorates. So again, PhD Germany is a place to go, Eurexis, where you can find EU openings, and academics, where you can find different information about doing research and being a doctoral candidate in Germany, as well as multiple databases that you can find here also collected, and you can find them on our website as well. And on this note, thank you very much for your attention. But I think before we close, Clarissa, you will share the final screen. Yes.
Exactly.
And we can start with the Q&A. Yeah.
Exactly. We're going to start better late than never with the Q&A session. But I just saw that there are not super many questions, which is fine when we are looking at the time. So I think it's we're just in time. I saw one question regarding age limit, which is a question we actually get quite frequently. So I'm just going to start with that one. Well, whenever we are asking professors who are receiving many applications, of course, they are saying that there is no number they could pinpoint, right? So they cannot say when you're 56, we are not providing you with any grants, but or with any position. But of course, if you have like a huge lack in your CV, right? When there has been so many years of a break, that's not really attractive if you're applying. But if you are somehow older and you're applying for a research position, there is no issue, there is no age limit, and there are those awards which are especially for professors when they're looking for some funding. So there is always opportunities, even if you're later on in your career stage or if you're a bit older. But again, of course, it has to be obvious looking at your CV that you have been consistently been working on your career and you have elaborating step by step. And I think that's the most important. But if it's visible that you have been working, you have been building a career, then there is no problem when you're a bit older.
If I may add to that point, Clarissa, because I think here it's also the focusing on parenting. There are specific funding lines that are focusing on women, putting exactly that into consideration. So take a look at those, because here, if you're delayed due to, supporting life, then that should not be taken against you. So this is for sure a thing that is considered as well. And yes, so there are, and when it comes to funding, sometimes specific funding lines say your PhD should not have been longer than 3 years or 5 years. So maybe you can take a look at that. But the age limit on its own, it's in Germany, it is open. There are no age limits when it comes to doing research in general.
And talking about this aspect of being a woman in science, we already had an episode this year where it was basically about women in science, and we had laid the focus on it. And those women were speaking about their experience of being a mother and pursuing a career in research. And I believe that there are specific funding opportunities even for women. And sometimes you see those little notes when you see those application websites where they say we're especially welcoming applicants who are female, and there are specific programs actually. And I believe next year we might also have one session focusing on women, probably in March. So stay tuned when you're a woman and you're interested in your research career. As I'm sharing the screen, Ingi, I cannot see all the questions.
Yes, I'm checking. I think you can stop sharing the screen if you. Yes, I think this is not necessary. But I think because multiple of the questions that are here are focusing on I have completed so and so degree, or I'm doing my PhD at so and so. How can I find funding? And again, with the database, it really helps showing you what opportunities you have. So I shared the link, if I'm not mistaken, in the chat, but if not, then I can do it right away. Yes. So open the database, type on your country, because some countries, I think Clarissa gave also an example, some countries have specific funding opportunities, focusing on specific research topics. So take a look at that and see what comes with it. So that would be definitely an advice on what to do to this general question, because it will be a little bit hard going through all open positions that are, or open grants and scholarships that are presented. I can see there are at the moment 100 and almost 170 opportunities. So perhaps yours is among those.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 individual questions we cannot answer, but again, we shared some helpful links, and also when we are going to upload our presentation as a PDF, you can have a list of all those links we just presented a few minutes ago. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe.
I think there's the one question with the professor. Maybe I can get into that. Well, you have to bear in mind that the professors in Germany, they receive hundreds of emails a day. So a tip for you would be, first of all, to see who is doing exactly the research that you are hoping or wanting to get into. This would be the first step. So maybe take a look at ResearchGate, for instance, where you can find the different publications, see who's doing research or writing research papers in suitable topics, and try to highlight that in the email. Like, for somehow show that you've read this following paper and you are working on this following topic, and that you would be in addition to his or her team, and you're looking for assistance in this and that, because these are answer the questions that they would have before they have them or before they write to them. And if they find and they read that your email is clearly structured, all the information is there, then they will kind of feel safe to write to you back, because it kind of shows how you approach them. And that would be the first what I call first impression. And make sure that you also write dear professor, doctor, and the last name. And we know that in different countries there are different cultures and different ways on addressing them, but if it's not really written in the right way, it can be a little bit come as as negative. So maybe try to put it nicely. Do not just share your CVs or like 100 pages of anything. You can maybe add as an attachment a 1 to 3 page proposal, for instance, and try to make it short. And I would definitely advise you to take a look at the tips on how to write to supervisor that I showed in the Pathfinder, and maybe there will be a one comment or another that can make your email stand out. And also, like, after maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, you can send a reminder, but anything before that, it's not considered nice. And yes, because I also read somewhere the timing. If you're planning for a PhD or a postdoc or for a funding, you should plan from 6 months to a year ahead. So it's a really long process when you're applying for a funding and a scholarship. So plan a lot of time, prepare your papers, make sure that your email stands out, do your research. This is an important tip, and then everything should not be a problem. And do not lose hope. This is also an important part. Yes. I think Clarissa moved right to our next slide. Yeah.
Exactly. I believe because there have been so many more questions coming up now, which were rather individual, and as we said, we cannot answer them. But I believe the most important things were just mentioned by Indu, right? So be concise, do not overload the professor with information, do your research thoroughly, and then also bear in mind that these are very successful people who are also like to be addressed as this, and yeah, I think that's the most important point. So unfortunately, we have to come to an end here. Time was running. But of course, there will be more events like this in the future. 2026 will be very exciting, let me tell you, and we will start in February. And until then, there are other sources of information, as Inti just mentioned, our homepage of Research in Germany. You can subscribe to our newsletter, and of course, our social media channels. We indicated them here again. And now, very quickly, please take a minute to fill out our feedback polls. I believe Indy is going to share them with you now. It's just a little survey and it will just take a few seconds. And if you would share your feedback, that would be super great for us. And I'm just going to continue. And yeah, at this point, I would just like to thank everyone for joining us today. It was a pleasure being in this virtual room with you. We appreciate your active participation and thoughtful questions, and your engagement is what makes these events so impactful. And so start applying, do the necessary research, and do not give up. And answer the survey, which is just online now. And so much, thank you so much, Indy, for doing this together.
Yes, thank you, Clarissa. And I'm also teasering in February, we have the funding February. So the whole month we'll be focusing on funding. And stay tuned, follow us everywhere. And we wish you all the best of luck and a great end of year and a great beginning of the new year in January, in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, everyone, and looking forward to your feedback and to make our sessions even more attractive for you and helpful for you as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can keep answering the survey. We will still stay in the room.